Yeah.
Oh, he's in.
And perhaps it's
Just get it on.
Last week was so.
And it's the skipper, George Johnson! Saved off the post and then out he may, follows up!
Last Saturday, the rumours were swirling. On Sunday, Charlton announced the appointment of Nathan Jones as manager. And despite our poor league position, it's given the club's fan base a lot of positivity. Well, Nathan would have to take that positivity into today's game in what is a massive, massive 90 minutes. Nearly 3,000 fans will be in a sold-out away end at the Select Car Leasing Stadium as the Addicts make the short journey to Reading. The hosts have seen an upturn in form to move out of the relegation zone and are now just one place behind us in the table. We're less than 45 minutes until kick-off. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up. We'll hear from Nathan Jones ahead of his first game as Charlton manager. We'll take a look at the Manager of the Month award for Karen Hills, another one, and she didn't need the help from Curbs. And we'll hear from the club's new Director of Performance Services, Dr. Will Abbott. It is a very warm welcome to everybody outside of the UK and around the world. Remember, just £10 to watch today's Charlton multi-camera production, and hopefully we can come away with all 3 points. Curbs and Brownie alongside me. I mean, look, we thought it was close last week, didn't we? Brownie, Nathan Jones, the new Charlton manager, your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, good appointment in terms of, if you look at what was available the last time we were selecting a manager, I thought the process this time had a lot more quality in it, no disrespect, but it just did on paper. And I think we discussed this last week about the options that the club had was to interim and wait or go, and I think the decision was made to go because Nathan was available now, plus one or two others which were interviewed. Yeah, and I think on paper it suits everybody, doesn't it? You know, I think we've got to look at it from Nathan's perspective. The fact that he had multiple probably offers to go back into football and he has chosen this one means to me that behind the scenes what was said to him was very, very important. You know, whatever was said. So, you know, it was good enough for him to put pen to paper.
Curbs, he ticks both boxes, doesn't he? Both in terms of short term and long term. And you know, he's not a third tier manager, is he?
No, and I like the fact he's been here before as a coach. I just think that obviously Nathan was in one of the boxes last week watching the game. But
took your security, didn't he?
Yeah, he took my security. But you know, it's what strikes me is very similar to Conor Coventry when he signed for us. They signed for us because of what has been achieved and what has gone on and what can be done. And everybody knows that if we can get this club back, at least in the Championship, that's 20,000, 23,000 all day with the opposition we'd be playing. And that's got to be, well, we've got to obviously secure, you know, this season and make sure that, you know, we can have a decent run in. But Nathan knows, the fans know, the owners know, the potential's here. And there's lots of clubs in this league saying the same thing, as big as us in this league saying the same thing. But we need a lift-off, and I like the fact that he's come in full of enthusiasm and basically saying, I know where I want to go, do you want to come with me? That's what I like about it. You know, no disrespect to the previous managers, they was coming in, a lot of them, trying to prove themselves. Well, he's got a proven track record, maybe not in the top tier, but he's got a proven track record. And for him to come, I think he sees this as a project and as an opportunity. Not, I'm doing you a favour,
No.
as an opportunity.
Absolutely, and Curbs touches on the fact of the potential and the fans as well. Despite where we are, as I said earlier, you know, the fans are really positive about this, and that's so important when you're playing in a positive environment, especially when you're down there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that makes today massive, not just for where we
3,500
are. Yeah,
isn't it?
3,000 sold, and they added to that. So we sold out the first allocation, added to that, sold that out, and that I think backs up what you're saying, Curbs. Is that if we were to get a result today, this crowd will swell here Tuesday night, but I don't know by how many, but it will definitely go up. They're really positive, actually. By and large, you're always going to get, you're never going to please everybody, but by and large, it's been a real positive reaction to getting Nathan on board.
A bit like Mrs. Brown trying to make you happy all the time, isn't it, really?
You're
can't
not
do it
going to
all the
believe
time.
this. She is the negative in our household. I am super positive in our
Go,
household.
are you having that? He's
how's
the positive
super
one in the
positive?
Brown household.
I hope she ain't watching it, you'll be in trouble tonight. I'm telling you.
Again,
I've told you before, she doesn't even know where I am today.
she's calling you right now.
No interest. Although in saying that, she might be in here next Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, we're up in London Friday night, staying over. And I said, oh, why don't you come into the ground Saturday? Sit in the studio. She won't, but she could be. You never know.
You know how to treat a woman.
Oh,
up
yeah,
well,
yeah.
don't you?
Yeah,
Come
go
and
get
sit
the
in
coffees, love,
Charlton.
yeah? Go on, off you go.
I'm taking you out for whatever reason, but we're going football.
Mate, if I did that here, trust me, I'd be out the door, she'd be sat here and I'd be going to get the coffees.
When he said he's going to London, he meant the Valley. That's what he meant with that. But bringing it back round to Nathan.
Sorry.
How important is it, or is it important, do you feel? And I was interested in listening to his pre-match presser, that he's a manager, not a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, if you look at it from the outside, is so many players have come in this window with Michael in charge, if you like. And now Nathan has inherited the squad, if you like. But obviously coming in so late, it wasn't going to have too much of an effect. But he must have sat down and with the board and whoever and discussed what the plan was. You know, what is my role? And it's quite interesting that he's been classed as the manager because, as you know, up and down the leagues, it's head coach, you know, whatever, but he's the manager.
Well, and I would imagine that you would do exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're the manager. So what does that role, what differences are there on a day-to-day, but also a general
I
view?
think the players know that you've got a little bit more power than perhaps just being head coach. On top of that, as I said, we don't know the ins and outs of it. But final say, you know, that was my big problem at West Ham, final say. Because that don't just mean like players and incomings and outgoings, it's staff and everything else. So, you know, if Nathan's classed as the manager, that must incorporate the whole thing, mustn't it? And even looking at the academy and everything else, he's probably got the overall brief, if you like, and it's not just the first team.
He held the cards here, didn't he, in this negotiation?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, when I think I've heard a couple of people say 4.5-year deal, but it'll only be 12 months because of the path. When you're the one holding the cards,
Imagine
it
it
isn't
more than
necessarily a 12-month.
Yeah.
Like the two previous managers, with all due respect, might have taken a 6-month, 12-month at best. I think Nathan's the opposite. I think Nathan's in a position where he could have gone, I'm not accepting the 12-month termination clause, and probably would have got what he wanted in that respect. So he did hold all the cards. And I think the fact that he had multiple offers before he came here, and he is dropping probably down from where he was getting some of the offers from, you know, speaks volumes for
What
him.
were some of the offers then?
Well, you don't actually get to know that, but there are rumours out there about Championship clubs that did go in for him. I think one was not far from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he was close.
Which he didn't want to actually mention names, but you would imagine it would have happened. Fair play to the hierarchy for getting him. I think he's a top end Championship manager.
And as I say, we like the fact he's been here before. He understands the club. He knows where it is. He knows what the training ground's like. It's not as if he's going in there cold, having to find somewhere to live, and being, perhaps in a place where you don't want to be. He knows exactly where he's at the moment.
So what about today's game then? We've had just one win on the road all season. It's been shocking, hasn't it? How do you think he'll approach it? Will he go for the win, or will he think, actually, do you know what, a draw would be a good result?
He's saying the same things that perhaps we've all been saying about, the clean sheet situation. Because we are, up until today, we are in a situation where we think we've got to score 2 goals just to get anything. And he's mentioned that as well. So he may have spent this week on the defensive side of the game, not just the back 4, back 5, or whatever he's going to play, but the boys up top, defensive-wise, what are we doing when we ain't got the ball, and etc. So I think he's identified that. But I think that the players, especially with the crowd there, I think the players will go out with that new manager bounce, which is what we're all looking for.
Yeah, much is made of the managers, and you just touched on it, that have done well in recent history. There's Chrissy Powell, there's Lee, of course, Lee Bowyer, who all had the Charlton connection. Will that help Nathan, do you think, given his first lead coaching role here, that he was here in 2012? Already he seems to have won the fans over, isn't he?
I think it's a big thing. As I say, he's not going to get lost getting to the training ground. I know
like you still.
I know we've all got sat navs and that, but you know what I mean. If he perhaps wants to go and watch a game in London, he knows where it is. It's a bit different when you land somewhere else and you've got to make your own way about.
He's got a feel for the club.
He's got a feel for the club. Yeah, he understands it.
Yeah. Okay, I've just realised that I'm folding my arms. Saw Ray Houghton at the Emirates last Sunday. He was watching us last week. He said, "Don't fold your arms." I said, I like being nice and relaxed. What's the matter with you? So,
being told by an elder. Eh?
Well, do you know what, Ray? I've got the utmost respect for the senior pro and the career he had. So that's the last time I'll do it, Ray.
He doesn't understand, does he? Because he is the nicest bloke. Like, I'm a secret Liverpool fan. So I played. You put him in my buggy, didn't you, on a golf day? What a player! And you sit there and you're going, I'm with Ray Houghton. Keep it cool. Don't hassle him.
Brandon, if you're lucky enough to see him again, ask him about the biscuit situation and Kenny Dalglish.
Well, if you're watching Ray, text Curbs in.
My all-time favourite player. So I like that.
Ray was?
Dalglish.
King Kenny was.
Yeah. You talk 100%.
About. But he's with Aldo and John Barnes and.
Yeah. Perhaps you talk about young players not quite making it. We had Ray at West Ham when I was a young pro, and he was coming through and didn't quite get through, and then went off, and then bang. We had 2, him and Terriolo, both couldn't make it at the club, but went off somewhere else, and then bang, made it. And Ray was one of them.
It's not Liverpool TV or Oxford TV, so we better move on here. We're still talking about Charlton and Nathan Jones, and let's hear from him now. He spoke to Terry Smith earlier this week.
Welcome back.
Welcome, cheers, thank
you. You mentioned just now about Lee Bowyer, Chris Powell, Johnny Jackson, all players, ex-players at Charlton, all people with Charlton connections, which you have, of course, as well. Charlton fans will be hoping that connection can prove positive. You're in a room with academy players on the wall, many of which were in that game down at Cardiff when you won the final.
Yeah.
Does that make this such a feel-good factor when you come back?
Well, look, it's part and parcel of why I came back. The academy's fantastic here. It always has been. Good people at the helm, and to be fair, I think the academy's been one of the real shining lights. It's one of the best academies. I always talk about Paul Hart, and I talk about 3 wonderful projects he built. He built Leeds, with the Harry Kewell days and the Ian Hart days and Jonathan Woodgate's. That group he built. The Forest ones with Genus and Dawson he built, and he built one here with Joe Gomez and all those that have gone on. And to be fair, doing him injustice there, because there's probably 20 of academy players playing in the Football League, either Premier League or Championship or Football League, and it's fantastic conveyor belt here. So it is. The connection I had with the club, made it an easier decision, because I know what can be achieved here if you just can get everything going at the right time and everyone buying into everything, and that's what we're going to try and do. And it is a lot of hard work ahead of us. We know that, but we want to be in here for the long haul.
Yeah, you mentioned hard work, and I'm sure that's true, and the guys have already mentioned the precarious position we're in. The stats show that, and the stats, we can score goals. We're in the top 10 for that, but we concede as well, and we're in the top 3 for that. Is that a short-term focus? Well, your short-term focus has to be to improve that. Whatever we got to do to win games is a focus. So if we can keep clean sheets, outwork opposition, and score goals, then we'll be fine. One particular painful aspect of our season so far has been our injuries to key players. People like Miles Lieberman, Panush Kamara, Chukwuemeka, Michael Hector now, all fairly long term, and more recently George Dobson. Is there any news you can give us on ahead of Saturday about those injuries? Well, it's not as grim as you just painted it there. So we're in a better position than that, with pretty much, apart from Miles Lieberman, everyone else is back in training. Cool, perfect. We visit Reading, below us in the table, obviously, but in good form. We'll be backed by 3,000 addicts, and you mentioned before about having a connection. I think the fans are already bought into that. I think 3,000 travelling fans in the position we're in is a phenomenal thing, and you can ask for a better reaction from the Charlton fans. Oh, absolutely, but again, without being flippant, you do expect it because they're a great group of fans. You know, it's not suddenly like 3,000 have turned up. 3,000 have turned up in the past plenty of times, and it's a wonderful fan base here and really good. And it's a working class fan base, and I say that with the greatest respect because I'm working class myself. And as I said, I'd like to build them something that they can be really, really proud of. But no, sadly, if we win the game, if we draw the game, if we lose the game, it wasn't just built in 1 week. I'm hoping for a real reaction from the players and a positive one. But you know, we're 4 days effectively into building something, so it's important that they see certain things that they can relate to, certain things that they say, okay, yeah, I see where we're going, and then we can build it from there.
Absolutely, and his first team is there. 3 changes. We think the same system, and what a 3-4-1-2 with Louis Watson in behind Alfie and Freddie as well. So Louis comes in for Imani, Lloyd in for Lucas, and the big one, Harry comes in for Ashley. All 3 of those that have come in have previously played under Nathan before Curbs. Oh, right. It's almost, does that explain things?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously the big one is the keeper. You know, he's made that big decision there. Yeah, so I didn't realise that it you know, managed them players before or been involved with them players before. It's more experience when you're looking at it, more, you know, the age, etc. So, yeah, I mean, he's obviously, he was watching the game on Saturday, and being ex-Charlton, he's obviously been keeping his eye on what's been going on here. And, you know, so it's interesting to see his first team sheet. But that's a big call, yeah, the keeper.
Interesting, he said Miles was the only one not training, and yet Dobbo's not in the matchday squad. We'll have to wait and see whether that's his injury's still not quite right, or who knows what's going to happen going forward in that one. But how do you see that team, Brownie?
Old heads, or older heads, is how I see that side. He's gone for the... I think when you're in a bit of trouble and you need players to be calm and responsible under pressure, you tend to go back to experienced players rather than play your youngsters. But in saying that, if you've got a youngster that's playing out of his skin, you wouldn't drop him. But I don't think we've got anyone playing out their skin. So you tend to pick players that can stay calm under pressure when there's a decision to be made. You know, they make the right one. And that's how I see the changes there. The goalkeeper one, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you've had a player out injured for quite some time. So
I haven't quite seen Harry yet, have we?
No,
over a period of time.
No, so it's an interesting change, that one. But in terms of, you've got 2 left footers as well in the back 3. So I know that probably doesn't sound like, oh, what's he making a big deal of that for? But it's interesting who plays where out of Gillespie, Thomas and Jones. Jones going to be isolated on that right hand side a little bit of a 3, because you wouldn't want to put a left footer out there. So we'll see how that sets up. But yeah, the midfield change, I think people have been crying out for Lou Watson for some time. It's just where he plays him. I mean, Backinson was in behind last week, but I think Backinson's the legs. I think he's got that drive to get up and down the pitch, whereas Watson's that little terrier in that 10 role. So we'll see. I mean, we haven't had a graphic there, so and normally it's put in place for us. So we'll see how that.
Because no one knows right now.
Well, and I think that's how Nathan wanted it. This team was given out very late today. you know, and the formation's not been given out, and I think that's probably quite wise from his perspective.
Yeah. Panucci Camara as well is in the squad for the first time since the Wigan game. That was back in October, so we'll see whether he gets minutes. Let's have a look at the rest of Sky Bet League One, shall we, and the fixtures for today. And if we go top of the table, then Portsmouth go to Carlisle, Derby at home to Shrewsbury. We do hope Derby win that one, while Bolton are at Northampton. But the big game we'll be looking at, of course, other than ours, is Port Vale against Stevenage. Of course, if they win and we lose, we end the day in the relegation zone. And that's a scary thought, that, Curbs, isn't it?
It is. And just that, you know, people have picked up on that. You know, away game today, Reading can go above us. And if Port Vale get the result, then, yeah, you're in it. And I think we mentioned the run of games after Lincoln is quite tough. So, yeah, there's some damage been done. Let's be honest about it. This run we're on, there's damage done. And we've got to turn it around. And if we can do it today, not only do we get the lift, but we put Reading in it a little bit more and take ourselves away. So people talk 6 pointers, it's bigger than that. I think this game is bigger than that.
Absolutely, and for anyone who didn't think we were in a relegation fight, we absolutely are now. By the end of today, we could be in the relegation zone.
Yeah, I think we sort of said that quite a few weeks back about
the run we've had.
Yeah, and we said a few weeks back, listen, we're looking over our shoulder here, and we still had a comfortable gap at that point, but it just goes to show how quickly things can turn around. What's more worrying is teams below us actually been picking up points, and Reading's form is only 1 loss in 11, which is incredible, really. I mean, they were quite some way away from survival, and they've clawed themselves back. And they've had the 4-point deduction as well. Yeah, so credit to them.
They've got suspended 3 points if the fans do anything. So I don't think the fans are going to do anything. The game will be fine today.
Yeah, I think the fans have actually, because of this run, I think they've responded correctly in the stands. They just want the sale of the club sorted out, from what I can gather.
And rightly so. What's going on there? You know, we think we've had it tough on the field. At least we've got stability now off it. Today is a big day for the football club. Of course, for the men's side, we've got a big game at Reading. For the women's first team, they're away to Spurs in the 5th round of the Adobe Women's FA Cup. And today's fixture comes off the back of another incredible month for the Addicts, who sit top of the Women's Championship. Karen Hills, once again, picked up Manager of the Month award. And Curbs, let's start with you. Didn't need you this time, did we? But
she still got it.
I guess you had an inkling that this is
every
going to happen.
time I pick Karen, I have to put a little proviso underneath it. This is not favouritism, because I get a vote along with quite a few other people, but it all goes into Barclays, and then they decide, you know, Manager of the Month, Player of the Month, Goal of the Month, etc. But I do it on behalf of the league managers, and every time I've voted for Karen, I have to put that underneath. You know, this ain't favouritism, this is it.
Well, you're doing it on a monthly basis at the moment, because she is doing well. And it's incredible how well the women's side are doing at the moment, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought that win against Crystal Palace was a massive win, because I think we've been slowly progressing year on year.
Any win against Palace.
Any win's a good win. Yeah, I might talk about a goal I scored at Reading against Palace. Maybe it might come up, maybe it won't. But no, I thought that win against Palace was a bit of a statement, not just beating Palace, because they were the top scorers in the league. They've been statistically better than us over the last few years, and we're clawing back all the teams that have been ahead of us. And Karen's done a wonderful job and put herself in the driving seat, but as you know, getting there's one thing, staying there's another. So she's got still plenty of ways to go, but it's brilliant job she's done.
Yeah, still rather be chased and be the chasers, wouldn't you? Just be up there, have the points in the bag. And obviously today it's the cup as well, away to Spurs at Brisbane Road. That'd be some game, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, Thomas Sandgaard's got to take a bit of credit, because he did put money into the women's side, didn't he? And there was a lot of, you know, shouldn't it be going on the men's team? But, you know, he had his ideas on it, and, you know, he wanted to build the women's team. He brought Karen in, and, you know, it's been successful ever since. And as I said, you know, the big thing about the women's football, they're slowly getting the publicities on BBCs, on this one, that one, but they've got to start playing at the grounds, and the crowds, hopefully the crowds will come then. That's the biggest problem, I think, that opening up a stadium the size of this, and
you don't want to be too empty, do you? So then the tickets.
Yeah, but what it is it's a cost thing, and a lot of the clubs are talking it's a cost thing, so we're not going to open it up. You know, I understand Spurs not opening up, that's why they're playing at Orient, but I think I think we'll see over the next couple of seasons, especially if we get promoted, that more games at the Valley.
No, Thomas to thank for the women's side and Thomas to thank for Charlton TV as well, I have to say.
If you're watching, Thomas.
Yeah, no, thank you very much indeed. Massive game, so that's after this one, and it's live at the Adobe FA Cup social media channels, which is free, so make sure you tune in and support Karen Hills' Addicts. Okay, now at the end of last month, Dr. Will Abbott joined the Addicts from Brighton Hove Albion as Director of Performance Services, and he spoke to Charlton TV earlier this week.
Well, thank you for joining us on Charlton TV. The news of your appointment as Director of Performance Services was announced back in November. How are you settling in at the club?
Yeah, thanks very much, Tom, and great to be here. So I officially joined the club midway through January, so I've been here for about 3 weeks now. It's been a very busy 3 weeks in terms of trying to get across as much of the programme as possible, meet all of the staff, meet all of the players. It's been helpful to have a couple of long away trips with the men's first team in there, which obviously helps to spend long periods of time around the staff and players, understand the environment, get to know personalities. So in that respect, it's been really, really helpful. Everyone's been really open, really, really welcoming. So great to be here and great to get started.
You've been at Brighton and Hove Albion for over a decade, a club that went through a really successful journey during that time. What was it about Charlton that appealed to you to make the move?
Yeah, so a really, really successful time at Brighton in terms of their history and have really, really fond memories and experiences of working at the football club. In terms of the appeal of Charlton, with the new owners, with the new board, with the new vision that's coming out, it's a really, really exciting time to be part of the football club. And certainly alongside the sort of ambition and drive that everyone associated with the football club has demonstrated, too good of an opportunity to turn down, certainly.
And you were at Brighton for a long time. What did you learn during your time there?
Yes, I had some fantastic opportunities and experiences at Brighton to work alongside some fantastic people and players and leaders, but also opportunities to work across the breadth of the football club as well. So be that men's first team, men's academy, women's first team and girls academy as well. And to contribute towards success in each of those programmes. So whether that's in the men's first team, being promoted from the Championship to the Premier League and then subsequently qualifying for the Europa League, whether that's our men's academy qualifying for Category 1 academy status, whether that's our women's programme being promoted to the Women's Super League. Some fantastic experiences and great to be able to contribute towards that success, and experiences that will no doubt stand me in really good stead for my work here at Charlton.
And what conversations did you have with Andy, Scott and the board before coming in?
Yes, so I had extensive conversations with Andy and the board before joining the football club, and during each of those conversations it was really, really clear to see the plan and the strategy for the football club, as well as the ambition and the drive to be successful. That was something that came across really, really, really well during each of my conversations with those members of staff. And I think that the opportunity to get out of bed every morning and work with individuals that demonstrate a similar level of ambition and drive as myself was a huge contributing factor towards me joining the club.
Your role covers some really important areas. Are you like to give a bit more detail about the role and how it works?
Absolutely. So the Director of Performance Services role encompasses a range of different disciplines. So strength and conditioning, sports science, physiotherapy, medical, nutrition, psychology. So pretty all-encompassing in terms of the performance services. And the role also oversees a range of different programs as well. So our men's first team, our boys academy, our women's first team and our girls academy as well. So a big part of this role is pulling everything together in terms of a performance services philosophy that spans across the breadth of the football club in a one club type philosophy. And
what have been your first impressions since you've joined?
Yeah, so 3 weeks in, and a big emphasis in these 3 weeks has been to observe and to understand and to experience the current practice that's going on. There's no doubt that there's some examples of really, really good practice within the football club, and there's also some examples of areas where we can really look to develop and improve that will stand us in really good stead for what we want to achieve as a football club.
How are you hoping to contribute, and what would success look like during your time here?
Yeah, so the ultimate aim, very, very simply, of the Performance Services Department is twofold. So firstly, to ensure that our players are available as often as possible for selection for matches. And then secondly, when they are selected for matches, to ensure that our players are in the best possible physical condition to compete and perform maximally. So in terms of our senior teams, that would culminate in winning games of football. In terms of our academy and age group teams, that would result in increased opportunities to develop and a smoother transition for them then moving into a first team environment. So really, really simply put, those are two really key objectives of a performance services department. That being said, it is certainly not just one person's job or one department's job to contribute towards those two aims. So a big part of the role is integrating in with the wider departments, footballing operation departments, both on and off the pitch, to ensure that we're able to realise those two goals and ultimately realise our ambition of winning more games of football from a men's senior team perspective and a women's senior team perspective, and from an academy perspective, both boys and girls, ensuring that we have our young, talented players transitioning through to our first team and are able to realise their potential.
Since your arrival, Nathan Jones has joined the club. What discussions have you had with him?
Yeah, so Nathan joined earlier this week, so we've had a really good first week of training and preparation. I've been really fortunate to have worked alongside Nathan at Brighton previously, so I'm well aware of Nathan's working philosophy, well aware of the demands and the intensity that he demands, well aware of the enthusiasm and energy that he brings, as well as his leadership qualities as well. So it's been a really, really positive first week and really excited to see it progress now moving forward.
Well, look, he speaks well, Dr. Will, and you would imagine that would be the case anyway, but he's certainly coming out with a lot of things there. And what I would say, Brownie, is with Charlton conceding late goals, and let's be fair, having a lot of injuries as well, yeah. and probably Chucks is the one that comes to mind, but there's plenty of who have had injuries. For constant, since we've been here on Charlton TV, we've been talking about a lot of players that are playing their way to fitness in the first team. You know, the Charlton board clearly felt the director performance role was an important one to have. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think what stands out more than that is where we've got him from, because I think that's a bold move. You can bring in somebody into that position and just pick him out of another League One side. We've gone for somebody that I no doubt has cost us a little bit more than we can afford in that role, and I think that's a positive sign for this football club, that the people backing, financially behind the scenes are willing to put their hands in their pockets to get the right people, or what you would deem the right people from the right football clubs, into positions that are not short-term. These are long-term positions. So I think that's a big tick, and there's a lot of work for him to do.
I was just thinking, I better tell him he's only 24 hours in a day.
Well, I was going to say, with the list he just reeled off there about what he covers, he's not sleeping, is he?
Dr. Will, Dr. Will, you better get a kit. But the interesting thing is, obviously, Nathan's coming afterwards, but did the doctor have a bit of sway with the board when I was talking about prospective candidates and Nathan's name's come up because he's worked with him at Brighton? So, it may have been another tick for him.
Brownie makes a really good point about the fact that they've got someone. Again, it shows, I think, that the owners are absolutely bang on it and ready for this club or wanting for this club to kick on and happy to put their hands in the pocket to do that. Bring in someone from Brighton who we know has been incredibly successful in what they've done from top to bottom. But how would you deal with that sort of relationship, or how important is it, the manager and director performance relationship? Because he might be saying to Nathan, he's not quite ready, and you want him playing.
Absolutely, that is the big problem between the medical side, if you like, and the football side. You could be thinking about putting sessions on during the week, and perhaps it's a defensive session, and you want the back, just been beat 3-0, 3-1 or whatever, so you want to do some work on the back four, back five with the keeper, etc. And then suddenly the medical come in and go,
Says Brownie's not quite right.
I'm telling you, this is it. Right in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Dunbar killed me.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, you could be, you could be planning what you want to do during the week, even after today's game. Nathan may be on the bus thinking, I'm going to do this next week. I need to do that. And then suddenly the medical people come in and say, look, we've just had Brownie on the running machine, if you like, and there's a few red flags. There's a few red flags coming up. There's a few red flags coming up. We don't think he should train for a couple of days if you want him for Saturday, because we think he's in a bit of danger. And it puts the whole thing out of, out of kilt, and you put someone else in that position. But the medical side, the way I'm seeing it, what's happening at the club at the moment is, obviously they've looked at it, the board, and gone, we've got too many injuries. For what reason have we got all these injuries? Is it the pitch at the training ground? Is it this pitch? You look at everything, what's going on. Is it too hard? Is it whatever? You was at Chapel Heath at West Ham when that pitch. Yeah. And Pards put undersoil heating in, didn't he?
Yeah, because they only had two available.
He only had two pitches available.
I was at Chadwell Heath when they didn't have undersoil heating.
It's incredible when you think back.
But what happened was Pards put undersoil heating into the main training ground pitch, and the players were slipping over because it was bone hard, but defrosting.
Top,
people were slipping over and pulling muscles, and so many things go into it. It's just that the relationship between Nathan and the doctor,
crucial,
is going to be big. Because, especially the position we're in at the moment, as I just said, if Nathan's saying, we're going to work the defensive all week, we're going to do that all week, then suddenly he comes in and goes, well, Lloyd can't train. He's showing all these problems, and, we think he's going to break down if he needs a couple of days off. And them sort of things go on all the time.
I'm sure they've been out at a couple of glasses of wine between each other, and the social side, if you get on with someone personally, then you can have arguments professionally, and there won't be a problem. I'm sure it is, and it's a great appointment, another one I personally believe. Okay, now as well as the Nathan appointment, and also of course Dr. Will, there was some good news this week as Charlton striker Daniel Kanu signed a 3.5-year contract with the Addicts, and he spoke to Charlton TV's Charlotte Richardson shortly after penning the deal.
Well, congratulations on signing a new contract, keeping you at the football club until 2027. How does it feel to commit your future to Charlton Athletic?
It's a dream come true. I'm really excited for the future. I've been at this club since under 11, so it's been a really long journey. I signed my first pro 2 years ago, around this time actually, and I'm just really excited for what the future holds and scoring more goals for the club and just contributing as a whole.
You mentioned it there, you joined the club at under 11s. Talk to me about the journey that you've gone through, all the age groups into breaking into the first team here.
I'll be here all day for us to talk about all the coaches and all the experiences that I've had, but yeah, it's been a whirlwind really. It's been a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but coaches, family, mum and dad, agent Joe, they've all helped me throughout my journey up until this point, and I'm just grateful to the academy and everyone else that's been part of my journey to get me to where I am today.
Has it been nice to have that consistency in terms of having a club from the Valley to Sparrows Lane to help you navigate that journey? Because it's not easy coming through a player pathway. You've made it look easy, but it's not.
It's really difficult, but a lot of credit goes to the academy for making it such a smooth transition into the first team, and also the players in the first team that welcomed me when I was 17 and have helped me grow into the player I am right now. And obviously this isn't the finished product, but they're helping me get better and better each day with the coaching staff as well, and the physios and all those guys as well. So yeah, I'm just trying my best to work hard every day and try and better myself each day.
This is a special moment for you, but a special moment for your family. What kind of influence and role have they played away from the football pitch?
Just supporting me in any ways possible. Literally, times where I didn't take the train, they'd rush home from work. As soon as the time struck 5, they'd rush home from work, picking me up to then take me to football, and then they'd stand in the freezing cold in the evenings just to watch me train and then to watch me play games as well. So they've been through a lot, probably a lot more than me, because they've put themselves through the cold where I haven't had to worry too much about that. But they've really done a lot for me throughout my life, not just through football, but just guiding me as well, bringing me up to be the person I am right now. So yeah, all the credit goes to them.
All that sacrifice must make moments like this more rewarding for you and for them as well.
100%.
Well, look, you mentioned it earlier. We're coming up to 2 years since you made your professional debut. For any young player, that is, of course, a really exciting and challenging step to make. How have you found it overall?
I've just embraced it. I think, first of all, like, there wasn't really any nerves because I was just so excited about it, because these are the moments that you dreamed of from the moment you joined the club to be making your professional debut. And I made my professional debut in the league, which was even better. So yeah, it's just something that you just have to embrace and really enjoy, and I think I did that. And I think that's helped me kick on very well this season, where every game, there's never really been nerves. It's just been another chance to impress, another chance to play football, a sport that I've loved since I was born, basically.
This season in a Charlton shirt, it seems with every appearance there's an improvement, confidence building. How do you reflect upon your season so far?
Been a really successful one. I think I've done, if you asked me, if you'd have told me that I'd done all of this, what I've done, I wouldn't have believed you. Like scoring 4 goals in one game on loan to Southend, making my international debut against Egypt. So many things that I've done this season that I'm very, very proud of. And the season's only half done, so there's obviously a lot more to come. But yeah, it wasn't something that I'd planned in my head. Naturally, when you go into each season, you have an idea of what you're going to be doing and the goals that you have. But it didn't go exactly to plan, but it's all worked out really, really well. So yeah, I'm very, very impressed and very happy for myself. I'm proud of myself for what I've achieved so far. You
should be very, very proud, because of course this is the season that you also made your international debut. What is it like playing for your country?
It's a different feeling. It's a different feeling. There was a sense of pride that I felt that I've never really felt before, because you're representing people that, your own people. So it felt a lot different, and coming onto the pitch at the time, playing against some of your idols such as Mo Salah, it made the moment even more special. So yeah, everything about that, not just the game, but the entire journey and the entire trip itself was just amazing.
And we're coming up, when this contract concludes, it will be a decade that you've been a part of Charlton Athletic Football Club, and you've mentioned how it's moulded you as a player. I just wondered, how has the football club moulded you as a person?
I think it's moulded me to much more of a well-rounded person. I think they know how to keep you grounded. I think that's probably the most important thing. And when they keep you grounded, you begin to appreciate the smaller things. And yeah, I think through the stuff that we do with education as well, do a bit of coaching, a bit of refereeing, helps you just understand that there's more to football than just, I signed my pro contract, that's it, I'm done, things like that. Joe Francis, head of education, always kept me on my toes, always making sure I was doing well in my education. Or talking about education, I did an A-level, which again kept me preoccupied quite a lot last year especially. And yeah, I think that also kept me quite grounded as well, because as much as I was playing football, I knew when I came home I had to go straight to my books to revise. So it wasn't much time for me to get too highs with the highs, because I knew that as soon as I come home, I have to start revising again.
Well, look, finally, Daniel, Charlton supporters proudly boast of you as one of their own. Valley Gold has played a part in your development. Do you have anything that you'd like to say to supporters?
Expect more of the same, yeah, and even better things as well. That's all I can say. I know whenever I step on the pitch, I give 110%, so I'm going to continue doing that. But also, I'm going to add some more goals to the game as well, more assists, and just improve as a player.
Absolutely love that answer. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Another one who speaks really well. He's only 19 years of age. And Brownie's come on this season, hasn't he? When you think he's only 19, what kind of a future do you think he has?
Well, listen, it all depends. I've seen players in the youth system score multiple, as in 30s and 40s, and not make it. And it's one of those ones where it's tough to call Scotty, actually, when they make the progression up to first team. He's had a really good start to life in the first team, but for some reason in modern day football, players sort of 20, 21 before they, whereas we used to have to hit the ground running at 18, 19. Yeah. So he's got a little bit more time than perhaps we had 25 years ago, but he's a finisher. You can see that. The header's pretty decent. The rebound is a decent finish under pressure when it comes back to him. He can finish. So that's ticking the right box, because goal scoring is very difficult these days in the way modern day football's played. So he's got a real good start, but maintaining it's the big issue, Scotty. It's massive to just be consistent year in, year out. It's tough.
Well, with him and Miles as well, Charlton have two potentially exciting young goal scorers, don't they? And Corey Anderson, there's Micah and Bick, there's Nathan Asimwe, and now Daniel as well, all signed long-term contracts. It bodes well for the academy and the first team as well, doesn't it?
What Nathan Jones was saying earlier, wasn't it? You know, the academy is producing players. I don't know if it's the right environment at the moment. You know, playing maybe